And we're recording. Hello,
Hi.
everyone. I'm here with Sarah today, and we're going to be talking about her journey with compassion. She's going to be joining us on the 1st of February at the New Year True You live event on the 1st of February, and she's going to be offering an amazing, delicious, wonderful compassion workshop and how to cultivate more in our relationship with ourselves and in our lives. So hello, Sarah.
Hi, Amy. Hi, good to see you.
Thank you for coming and joining me today. I've so enjoyed kind of getting to know you, and just your wisdom and your intuitive magic is just beautiful. So I'd love to kind of share that with the world. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe what has led you to kind of be on this compassion journey?
Yeah, thanks, Amy, and thanks for your kind words. Wow. I guess in a nutshell, I would say, perhaps like a lot of people, I was very unaware of the damage I was doing myself around the way I was kind of talking to myself and being with myself. And about 10 years ago, I retrained as a coach and started to get much more active in kind of self-development, personal development, and helping other people to develop as well. And as part of that process, I got really, really kind of up close and personal with some of the things I was saying to myself and becoming much more aware of how I was treating myself. And also kind of the knock-on effect that might be having around people around me. Obviously, if I'm kind of, quotes, at war with myself or somehow being aggressive towards myself, I think that spills over into our relationships. So, I came across the work of Kristin Neff and Christopher Germer, who are a couple of researchers in the States, pioneering kind of mindful self-compassion. I'm also massively inspired by people like Tara Brach and Pema Chodron. And the whole kind of Buddhist tradition, I guess, really broadly around kind of softening one's, your dialogue with yourself and with other people. And it's really practical. It's really, really practical. And I love that about it. So, that answers your question.
Awesome. Yeah, it does. And have you seen, how has your life changed by bringing in these practices into your own life?
Well, the first thing I want to say, and I'll say it kindly, is I'm still very imperfect. So we're all a work in progress, right? But I think I would say it shows up in a few ways. I think it's I'm much more inclined to be friendly with myself than antagonistic or unkind. I'm much more likely to notice if I've got kind of a critical inner dialogue going on, like self-critical, the inner critic. And I would say in terms of my relationship with other people, again, work in progress, fully capable of kind of, getting it wrong or not being as kind as I'd like to be, but just kind of more aware and sensitive to the struggles that other people might be in. And feeling compassion for that and for them and for all of us, really. I think one of the really big pieces in the self-compassion work is becoming much more mindful of big phrase, but the human condition and how, the inevitability of suffering. And it could close your heart, but I think it can also really open your heart and really encourage us to feel more connected with one another. And I think that is really the beauty and the wisdom of these teachings, really.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I guess, like you said, it's not just compassion, isn't it? It kind of brings with it this really delicious array of other things, like empathy, you mentioned, kind of like that more kinder, I guess, open-hearted, open-minded approach to our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to kind of with other people, and I guess how we show up in life as well. So it has a really lovely kind of domino effect on everything.
Absolutely. And it's a paradox, really, Amy, in the sense that you're kind of working with yourself and your small sphere of influence. But I think there's also, one could hold alongside that, in parallel, a sense of, well, if a lot of us are practicing like this, we really can change. Perhaps, I don't know how to phrase it really, but change the energy in the world. I've heard Tara Brach talk about that. That's a big lofty ambition, but you start where you can with what you've got. So small circles of influence joining up can actually make a lot of difference.
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess something else I would say about compassion, both for oneself and for other people and other predicaments. I mean, it could be animals, it could be any kind of suffering. Is a sort of vital element of it is a desire to alleviate that suffering. So it's not just, I see everyone suffering, and then, isn't the world a rotten place or whatnot? But it's a real ambition, a real desire to alleviate suffering, which could be one's own. So talking to oneself more kindly, like, I don't know, it might be stopping running around when you're feeling exhausted and just taking a moment to sit and take a cup of tea. You're trying to alleviate your suffering in that moment. Equally, if we notice suffering in another, there's some sort of move to want to alleviate that. Again, it could be really small gestures, or it could be kind of on a Mother Teresa scale, depending on the individual concerned.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And I really like that you say that it's kind of really practical. So it's something that you find that you can integrate, with some level of ease into your life and sort of bring in that practice. Do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about, that practicality and what people might take away from your workshop next week?
Yeah, great. Thank you. Well, I think we've got about 45 minutes, haven't we? Or 40 minutes. So first of all, we'll be exploring what compassion means to the people who attend, what their experience of it is, how they recognize it and how that makes them feel. Also perhaps how they appreciate or recognize when there isn't compassion and how that feels. And we'll take a sort of a deeper dive into why people practice it and what they could get from practicing it. And then I'm going to share one or two mindful self-compassion practices that people can take away, and also give them a couple of resources. Like there's such a lot of wonderful resources out there. I mean, one of the things that kind of marks this community, I think, perhaps the whole of the Soulshine community, but there's such a lot of generous people out there. I mean, if I think about Kristen Neff or Christopher Germer's website, the talks that Tara Brach gives away weekly on YouTube, or sometimes daily, there's so much, there's so many resources out there that people can access. So it might be a question towards the end of just flagging up a few that I find particularly useful, but also, giving people a range so they've got a choice.
Fantastic. Sounds amazing, Sarah. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, I hope so. And my real kind of desire, Amy, is to make it interactive, participatory, getting people to contribute their experience, their wisdom, their insights. I'm not really up for, and I know you're not asking me to kind of sit at the front and dole out wisdom. That's not really my style. And I think we'd have a fairly poor diet. But yeah, let's see who's in the room. Let's see what we've got and what we can co-create together. I'd love that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. There was just one more thing that I wanted to ask you. So because you run kind of online workshops as well and courses, and you're a coach, you do one-to-one coaching. So do you want to tell us maybe how people can find you and how they can maybe get in touch with you?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. I've got my website is www.sarahdurrant.co.uk. Sarah with an H, Durrant, Durrant. And you'll find out there about my coaching. I tend to coach more and more working with people who are navigating the second half of life. But I'm also interested in kind of transitions of any kind, helping people navigate transitions. So that's really my kind of coaching focus. In terms of my workshops and online courses, it's about what I call inner leadership. So how people show up in the workplace, how they can bring more of their authentic self to the workplace, more of their courage, creativity, compassion, and kind of connecting capacity. To perhaps, I have a little bit of an agenda there in a way, in the sense that I think our top-down command and control models of leadership are kind of defunct and last century, and I think we need something a lot more connecting and compassionate in the workplace. So yeah, that's my focus kind of professionally around leadership.
Wow, it sounds so juicy. It sounds so interesting and fascinating.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd highly recommend Sarah as a coach, and it's just been great to have you as a friend these past few months, and all your coach-licious wisdom, and yeah, I highly recommend checking Sarah's website out and seeing if it's for you. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. We really look forward to seeing you next week in person and sharing the lovely day together and your wonderful compassion workshop. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy. What a pleasure. And thanks for our time together here. And I look forward to seeing everyone on, it's the 1st, isn't it? The 1st of February. Yeah, I better get that right. Thanks, lovely.
Thanks, Sarah. See you soon.
Thanks. Go well.